I said I really need to learn how to draw shoes.
Shoes?
Yes, I don't know how to draw shoes.
Fun fact, actually really sad fact, I don't know how to draw shoes.
The comment is so off guard.
Hey everyone, today we're going to do a bit of an art talk. I have my friend Chloe Yang over here. We're going to be talking about a tweet that I saw recently. This is the tweet. And we're going to touch as well on the whole good versus bad art argument and do a bit of a draw with me type video. Yeah, so I'm going to be drawing something inspired on this this Pinterest pin that I found, this one and this one with flowers, and I'm just going to do I guess try and do a bit of a mashup of both of them, but this is not going to be for too long, so I don't know how far I'm going to get into it. But what are you going to be working on, Chloe?
I'm gonna just be drawing random things, I guess.
Great.
Doodles. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. And I'm going to be doing traditional media. Chloe's more on the digital now. Okay, so I guess I'm just going to start by kind of explaining what the tweet is. So this girl on Twitter posted two different paintings. One is by Van Gogh and it's very famous. It's called the Cafe Terrace. The one that was not done by Van Gogh is more technically executed and more perfect, more realistic. And her argument is that shows how Van Gogh is overrated. I think that obviously right from the start, like, that's a lie. I don't think Van Gogh is overrated. I think Van Gogh is really famous because his style is remarkable, and you can
Yes. It's like notable, and it's like
yes,
it really is different.
mm-hmm.
Like I think he created this type of style.
Exactly.
He really has a really distinct style that
Mm-hmm.
people know that it's like Van Gogh.
Exactly. Even a lot of people who are not into arts can identify his style. I think that's important because when you're talking about like an artist like him, the legacy that he left behind, it might not be technical work, but it is like this specific style that kind of started change in art.
I have something to say, but I don't know if it's like related or anything. It has to do with like realism and stuff like that. Realistic art, yes, it's very skilled, and yes, you need to be really skilled to do that, but it's not exactly memorable. Like, you know what I mean?
That is very
like
true.
Artists, they want to be known.
Yeah,
they want to
maybe not
like,
all of them,
this
but like
is
definitely a
them.
lot of them want to be like they want their art to leave a mark on this planet.
Yes, exactly.
Even
They
if
wanna
it's
leave
not
a mark.
themselves.
Yes, it is like their work that's what they want to do. But like if everything is realistic to be considered skill, then everybody wants to do realism, and realism isn't like there's a certain point where everything looks realistic, so you can't tell whose art
Exactly.
it is. There's no style. There's no
personality. There's no character.
variation. There's no personality to it. Exactly.
Definitely. And I mean, and you look at history, and you look at art history, which I'm not 100% an expert on, obviously, but still, like, for some reason, there were different movements, art movements, and art styles that emerged and that prevailed, and that's because like realism is not above any of them. It's because like different people have different styles, and different people like identify more with different styles.
Oh, let's talk about
Art classes.
art classes.
I think that a lot of people can relate to, at least a lot of people who are into art, can relate to feeling very forced to like embrace realism as their art style. Because when you grow up, like in art classes, and that goes to like more like basic art classes, that's usually what they're expecting from you, is for you to draw something and draw it realistically. I personally always felt like pretty comfortable drawing, not always, but with practice, I became like comfortable drawing realistically, like from real life. It gets to a point where you don't really input any of your personality anymore into your like creations, and it's like you're drawing stuff and you're kind of like, why am I drawing this like exactly the way it is?
I remember in APR class, we were literally forced to draw the way she wanted us to draw, which is basically realistic. There's a whole perception that like cartoons or anime isn't real art.
Yes,
because they're
definitely.
cartoons.
Or if it's, or not even that, it's just, it's not as good or not as skilled. It's like you don't need as much skill to draw like anime.
Yes.
Right? You don't need as much skill to draw. Like the real thing is realism.
Yes, which is completely false because you see like these amazing art pieces that are done in it's anime. Like, you know what I mean? I remember I drew this one thing. It was like Steven Universe, but like in my art style, which is half anime, half trying to be realistic. So it was like in between there. She wanted to make the facial like more realistic, like smaller eyes maybe, and like instead of just like a line for a nose, she wanted me to put like an actual nose, some things like that, and also like shading for it. It was like my style to not shade it, like, and to have it super flat and super pastel, but she's like, oh, to enhance everything and to like make it like pop more, like you should do this. So I feel like there's like a rubric when art shouldn't be a rubric. It shouldn't be like just this one thing.
When we're talking about AP art, it's like it's not a lot of times it's not even the teacher's fault. It's like I feel like a lot of times that's what like College Board wants from you. But I mean, AP art is a whole completely different subject. I feel like if you want to get a good score at AP art, at least like with a drawing portfolio, unless you probably want to do realistic arts, unless you have like, and that's the thing. I feel like for you to go out of that way, you would have to be way more skilled than a lot of people who draw realistically to have a style that's like expressive enough, that is like beautiful enough as art that like communicates stuff just as well.
Like if you bring in something abstract, it'll be like probably like a 3 or 2 if it's abstract, rather than if it's a super detailed like face drawing, you know, that super realistic portrait would be probably like a 5.
More praised,
you know, like art is supposed to be like everything, right? It's supposed to be like, it can just be beautiful, just to be beautiful to look at. I feel like that is realistic.
And I guess that is like going into the whole like good versus bad art. It's like, what is art? And it's like, does it really need to have a meaning? Can it be something that is just like beautiful to look at? Can it be something that is just, you know, because a lot of realistic pieces are just like pretty things to look at, where you can like, you're kind of like, oh, that's crazy that someone was able to recreate this photo so well, or like this setting so well. When you look at a time period where there was no photography, it's like realism held a completely different status. And it's like what you were talking about, how there was a lot of demand for like portraits, especially from like very important people, or for very important people. And it goes a little bit into that, because like that was like kind of the beginning of photography. It was like someone would just paint it. I don't think you have to learn every single style of art, but I feel like realism, and I think that's why a lot of art classes are more directed towards like learning realism, is because like learning realism gives you a really good base to start introducing that personality. Because like,
yes, it gives you the anatomy of everything.
Exactly.
Like,
it kind of helps you to literally develop your own style. You kind of start noticing how you prefer doing stuff, how you implement your own like thing into art. And I mean, I love drawing realism. It's so much fun. But it's also fun to just kind of like do whatever you want.
It does take a lot of skill, but like at the same time, that's like one branch of art. There are like other branches, and like
it's like it's not like one is above the other. I think that's the main point. It's like if you've been like doing realism all of your life, you're gonna find that doing anime is like harder for you, because you've never learned that.
And if you do anime all your life, you don't really You're not used to like real.
Like looking at something from real life and just putting it down on paper, which is like.
Yes, exactly. There's such a difference because one is like, I don't want to say more creative, but like take like Van Gogh's like style. It is more creative in a way. It's just like.
Because that's the thing, like, you can look at like 5 different realistic fruit bowls, and you're probably not going to be able to identify which one drew which. At least at a first glance. I also think that like education wise, like teaching realism and like putting it as a superior style of art from a young age, I feel like it discourages so many people from like pursuing art because you're like, oh, I'm not that, like, I don't really like realism, or it doesn't come as natural to me. So that means I'm not as good of an artist as my classmate is. And I feel like people are just like, oh, maybe I shouldn't pursue art. Where it's like, maybe you just haven't found your style.
I feel like it's just like people don't think that they're good at art, so they just don't do art because they're not good at realism. But maybe they're just creative. Creativity is like this is also like skill and talent, right?
Which I'm probably gonna do a video about, just our opinions on, are people born with talent for art? Are people just born with wanting to practice art? I don't know. We'll talk about it. But yes, you're saying?
But like creativity, I feel like people are born with it. In
Maybe,
my opinion,
definitely.
You can't really learn creativity.
I don't think you can learn creativity.
Yeah,
you can like practice to be more creative, but like.
Yeah, you could practice thinking outside the box. Yes. But it's just like some people are like born with creativity. They were born with that, like that mind. Like realism, you could always learn realism.
That is true though. I feel like a lot of people are like, you can learn realism at the end of the day. You can't really learn creativity.
If you really wanted to, you could learn how to draw an eye. You can learn how to draw like a face. You can learn all this stuff.
I guess we'll end it there.
Oh.
I'll show you our drawings when they're done. It was really nice to have this conversation with Chloe. And I mean, we're probably gonna have more videos like this because they're so much fun to make. Even though
I think they're just like very like chill.
Yeah, exactly.
Like anyone can just watch them.
So yeah, thank you for watching. If you did, please like and subscribe. And
leave a comment down below.
Leave a comment down below. And yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching. Bye.